ICM. That's intentional camera movements. Yeah, I'm going to have a go at that. I'm actually going to try and take some blurred photos. How great is that? I've been doing it for years when I didn't want to. The whole of my photographic career has been spent trying to get things sharp, trying to get the cameras with the fastest autofocus, the lenses that are the sharpest. But today, I'm going to take some blurred photos. Do you know what? I came across something called intentional camera movement. And if you haven't come across that, Google it or have a look on Insta. ICM. And what that is photographers actually moving the camera to try and get a blurred effect. That's right, they're going for that Monet impressionist look, where you're just looking at movement, you're just looking at colours and light in its simplest form. So you're going to need slow shutter speeds. You're going to need, on a sunny day like this, a neutral density filter. Sometimes the photographers move the camera left to right, sometimes up and down. It depends on the subject. Sometimes they actually twist the zoom barrel. Whoa, you might want to go a bit steady with that one. It can be a bit aggressive. It's going to be really, really interesting. So this is my first stop. And behind me, look, I've noticed that tree there. Well, that's a little bit underwhelming. I think I've got too fast a shutter speed there. Let's slow it down to maybe a second. Well, as you can see, I've moved the camera from top to bottom. That's not going to set the art world alight, is it? It's a slow start. Let's move on. Let's go and see if we can find some colourful flowers or bushes or something up here. Now, on the way up the footpath, I've done a picture at 1/4 of a second, and it's getting those sort of like Monet tones, isn't it? Let's go at a 1/2 a second, and I've moved the camera up to down. It's okay, still not quite there, is it? Okay, so plainly this isn't really working. I've chosen to come out on a country walk, and I don't think there's enough contrast. Looking at the successful camera movement pictures online, there's always actually quite a lot of contrast in them, or colour. So I need to find more colour. And I know just the place. I spotted these yellow flowers yesterday when I was in the car, so I've come back to them. So let's give it a go, and we start off with too fast a shutter speed. That's no good. Let's slow it down. Oh, that's a bit better. A little bit of movement on that. Let's do another few. As I'm slowing down now, I'm on a second. I'm on a full second. That's 2 seconds. Probably a little bit too much, maybe. Back to a second. Now, these flowers are moving in the wind as well. And I'm actually, on some of them, actually just using the movement of the flowers. There we go. We can start seeing some trails of light, look. And I really like the effects that this is starting to give. Oh, that's better. Look at the high contrast. The high contrast works better, doesn't it? And if you keep the camera on a 2 second exposure, but still for a second, it kind of records a little bit of sharpness, and then you move it. Now we're getting somewhere. I like this with the black background, with a movement look, right to left, and they're starting to look good. I'm almost happy. That's it. Oh yeah, we're getting it. I love that dark background. That's the one for me. I'm happy with that. That is my picture so far today. Really happy with that one. But it's an overcast day, and the next day was blue sky and sunshine. So I come back, couldn't resist coming back. Here's my yellow flowers. I'm sure you botanists will know exactly what they are. They look like big yellow daisies to me, but what I can see is a blue sky. So let's redo the pictures, shoot low with the blue sky. Let's go. Wow, that's starting to look good. And we're going to use some of the 1 and 2 second techniques with the polarizer on that we got yesterday. And that blue sky is really kicking the colour in, and definitely contrast works. And that technique I talked about keeping the camera still for a second before. Oh, I like that. That's like some sort of explosion of a firework or something, isn't it? Really like that. Just enough to get some detail in the middle of the flower and the movement around it. Oh yeah, that's it. That's the one for me. I think that one. You know, I'm starting to get into this. I noticed some blue flowers actually when I was coming up to these yellow ones. These agapanthus, I think these are called. Ooh, somebody's going to be impressed. Right, let's go. Yeah, we can start seeing the movement on the flowers. There's not quite so much contrast. Ooh, I like that. And we start seeing light trails, look, from the highlights on the flowers themselves. Let's go 4 seconds. It's a bit too much, isn't it? A bit too much. Although we've got some sharpness down in the bottom right. Look, maybe I should move away from the flowers. I've come down. I'm in Falmouth. I've come down to Gillingvays Beach to have a look down here, and we've got some nice wide shots here. Look, and I'm wondering if the technique works with that. Okay, so as you can see, I've shifted left to right there. You can see the light trails, look, from the flowers. And really, I do quite like these. Look at the different effects you can get with moving the horizons. Oh, now we got people on, and I'm starting to oh, I like that. Hang on, let's hang on to that for a second. Now, there were some French Impressionist painters around the turn of the century that did paintings of people on beaches and movement, and you know what? I'm actually, getting that vibe from this picture. Down onto the beach and the swimmers in the water. Oh, that's the one for me. I like that. That's got it. Finally got one that I'm really, really happy with. I'd happily see that in a frame on a wall. So let's take a couple of pictures from that and see what they look like if we put them actually on a wall in a frame. Wow, they take on a very, very different look, don't they? I mean, this is photography, but not as we know it. Because we're not trying to get everything sharp. We're trying to create an illusion and almost a painting. It's interior design. It's putting it in a room like this changes what we've done completely. I really like this. I'd like to experiment more. I mean, look how big that is in that room, and look at what an impact it has. The blue one, I didn't think maybe, look, oh no way, hang on, that was my favourite of the yellow flowers. Look, I really like these, and I'd like to explore it more. Leave me a comment if you'd like to see more exploration into this. Leave me a comment as to what you think, whether you've had a go at it yourself and whether you want to see more. Well, that was my first experience of shooting ICM, intentional camera movement. So what conclusions can I draw? Well, firstly, I've got to say it was a lot of fun. It's not something I'd use professionally, but as an art medium, yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. It definitely made me look at light and colour of the compositions with much more intensity, and it got me focusing on shutter speeds. Focusing, bit of a strange choice of words, I suppose, with ICM. Now, look, in the days of film, camera movement would have cost you lots of money. Film processing, film costs, printing costs. But with digital, it's completely free. Look, what have you got to lose? Go out, give it a go. I definitely will be trying it again. I loved it. And, well, if you enjoyed the video of my first ICM experience, please take a second, give me a like. It's free, it really helps. And leave a comment too about whatever experience you've had of ICM photography. So, after one session, I'm no expert, but I've learned a few valuable lessons from today, and I'll be taking that out to my next ICM session. So here they are. Tip 1, look for colour and contrast. That way you'll find dragging them across your image, you'll be a lot more appealing. Tip 2, look for shutter speeds around 1 to 2 seconds. I got my best results from that. Tip 3, you'll need a neutral density filter during the daytime, or you'll never get shutter speeds slow enough. A polarizer can do the job on duller days, but it will affect the colours. Tip 4, save your back, my friends. Leave your tripod at home, travel light. What's the point carrying something heavy to keep your camera still when you're going to move it intentionally anyway? Tip 5, consider keeping the camera still for a moment before the movement. And in that way, you can keep an element of focus or form to the image. Tip number 6, if you have different strength ND filters, then choose your perfect shutter and aperture, and then use your ISO to make the exposure. Tip 7, look for movement within the composition and use your camera movement to emphasize it. So if, for instance, waves are breaking over a wall, then use the camera movement to stretch those waves even more over the wall and add to the overall movement of the image. Tip 8, don't be afraid of the shutter button. This is a hit and miss process. You're not in complete control of the finished image all the time, and so trial and error is going to play a big part. Take as many images as you can, review on the screen as often as you can, and make adjustments. It may take many images to get the one that you want. Tip number 9, you don't need super expensive lenses. A kit lens will be fine. You're not looking for super sharpness. A smaller lens is going to be easier to get into tight spots. And finally, tip 10, enjoy it. It's a physical process. It will be easy to go into post and start dragging blurs around, but this is an analog process with a digital camera. Try and resist the post-production filters. Do it old school. Hey, look, I hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as I have shooting it, and I hope you're inspired to go out and get your neutral density or polarizer on, shoot some pictures of your own. Talking of filters, I've noticed that there's quite a big difference in the price of filters, isn't there, when you buy them? So what exactly do you get for the extra money? Are the cheap ones any good? Well, I took a pair of polarizers out, a £79 Hoya and a £12.79 Amazon Basics. Is it worth paying the extra? Well, take a look at this next video and find out.